So I'm gonna take this time one break and we're gonna read Matthew 4, 1 through 11. That's the account where Christ he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness, and then Satan came to tempt him while he was hungry, you know? And we're gonna look at what Christ used to overcome this temptation that Satan himself came and presented him. You know, we're gonna need Matthew. We also gonna need the book of Psalms if you want to mark that to keep up, and we also gonna need the book of Deuteronomy if you want to mark those other two books. But I'm gonna start reading. You can pause this and catch up if you need to. But I'm gonna start reading now at the top of the script, and we're gonna come to the conclusion of. Okay, Matthew chapter 4, verse 1. Then Christ was led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. 2. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. 3. And the tempter came to him. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. If you really the Son of God, Christ, eat. If you hungry, eat something. What you starving for? This is what Christ said in his response. 4. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Alright, now we're going to pause there, and we're going to take our first detour in the Deuteronomy. Go with me right quick to Deuteronomy chapter 8. Deuteronomy chapter 8. We holding that thought. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 3. And we're going to read it. Deuteronomy 8 and 3. And he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knowest not. You ain't even know what you was eating. He talking to the people of Israel when he had them out there in the wilderness. And they were starving and dehydrated, and he fed them with manna. And they didn't even know what it was. It was spiritual food. It was angels' food. And that's what he's talking about here. We're going to start from the top. And he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knowest not, neither did thy fathers know. Their fathers didn't even know what it was. Nobody knew what that was. That he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live. So we see where Christ went to the word. Not only to the word, he went to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is the book of the law. The first 5 books are our books of law. Deuteronomy, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Those are our books of law. So those might be the books you want to get off into to learn the word and what we may need to know in order to repel when Satan comes to tempt us, because he will come. And if you don't know your word, he gonna rip you apart. So we see where Christ went. We went to Deuteronomy, the book of the law, because Christ is a man of the law. You know? So let's get back to the script. Let's get back to Matthew. Matthew 4. Give me a minute while I get there. Matthew 4 and 4. But he said in answer, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. You see, I ain't say it was written in Deuteronomy 8 and 3. I ain't saying Christ didn't know the word like that, but when you read the word, it should stick, and you should be able to go back to it. You should be able to reflect back to it like it was written. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word. That's how you don't get tricked by Satan. Once again, Christ went to the law. We're going to reinforce that when we keep on reading. Let's pick up at Matthew 5. Then the devil taketh him up to the holy city and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple. He took him up to the top of the city. You see how Satan had authority at this time to tempt Christ and do what he want to him? He took him up. Come with me. He at the top of the holy city and sat him on the top of a pinnacle, looking down on the temple. And he said unto him, we in 6 now, if thou be the Son of God, like you think you are, cast yourself down. For it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against the stone. So Satan said, oh, you know your word, huh? Let me blow your mind right quick. Come with me. Now let me show you that I'm God. If you think you the Son of God, throw yourself down, because it's written. Let me tell you what was written. Angels shall take charge concerning you, and their hands shall bear you up, and your feet shouldn't touch a stone. That's what that book say, don't it? Now, hold that thought. Let's go to Psalms 91. You see how heavy Satan tempts you? Let's go to Psalms 91. You can know your word. He gonna come straight back at you. That's how you got to be grounded in your word. Go to Psalms 91, beginning at 9. We're going to read 9 through 12. But beginning at 9. Psalms 91:9. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Because you rest in the Lord, you have made the Most High where you dwell at. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. You and your house is protected. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. You see where Satan went? To the book. Nah, let me point this out too. We know that Satan was the minister of music in heaven. We know he loved music. So where Satan go? He went straight to the songs on him. He broke out a hymn on him. Went to Psalms to show you his characteristics and what he off into. He's the minister of music. Side note, be careful what you're listening to. May the Lord forgive me for all the music I put out against his word. Now I gotta talk for him. Off the side note and back to the script. We back on Matthew. Let's get back to Matthew. Matthew 4. And we pick up at 7. Christ said to him, this was Christ's response to him for his proposition, letting him know that the angel said they was going to catch you in the air. And they're gonna set you on solid ground. You ain't gonna dash your foot. Won't one mark on. Won't nothing be damaged about you when they set you back on solid ground. Now that I got you up here in the air, looking down at the temple of the whole city. Now that I got you here in your flesh, you know. Now picture you in your flesh, that high in the city, in the air, where you're looking down at the whole city. How would you feel in the air with somebody you can't trust that done took you up here and know the word, willing to drop you at any time? And you know this, you would tread lightly. And you would dwell harder in your confidence. Let me show you where Christ responded. Matthew 7. Christ said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Man, let's go to Deuteronomy 6 and 16. Let's go to Deuteronomy 6 and 16. Deuteronomy 6 and 16 reads, ye shall not tempt the Lord your God, as ye tempted him in Massah. You see, where Christ went straight back to Deuteronomy, and he ain't even deviated from Deuteronomy, being that Deuteronomy is the law, and Christ is a man of the law, the book, the word, you know. Another side note, let's keep reading, all right? Because if we take Deuteronomy 6 and 16, then 17 count too, right? Let's read 17. We're going to start at 16 and keep reading. Ye shall not tempt the Lord your God, as ye tempted him in Massah. 17. Ye shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God, and his testimonies, and his statutes, which he hath commanded thee. Yeah. That's how you fight Satan. With your word. With your commandments. With your law. That's how Christ fought Satan. Let me get back to the script. Matthew 4. What did I just read? 8? 7. I just read 7. Jesus said to him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. We on 8. Nah. Satan like, man, okay, you sharp, huh? Again, the devil taketh him up an exceedingly high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world. So he already had him in the air looking over his city. He took him higher to the point where he could see the world. Come with me. Let me show you who I am. I'll give you this world if you listen to me. Hold on. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. And saith unto him, all these things I will give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. He ain't even hit him with a scripture. He just thought he was going to blow his mind because he had him up out there looking at the whole world. He thought because he had to do that, Christ would understand that he is the Lord, huh? You gonna give me this stuff. Listen to Christ's response. Then Christ said unto him, get thee hence, Satan. It is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Let's see where that's written at. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the book of the law. And let's go to Deuteronomy 10. And let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 20. And let's read it. We're going to read 20 and 21 so we can have a clear understanding. Deuteronomy 10 and 20. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God. Him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave, and swear by his name. His name is I am. The Most High's name is in Exodus 3 and 14. And his name is I am. In the Hebrew language, you say I am like this. Ahaya. His name is Ahaya. That's the Most High God's name. And it is important to know his name because Satan has many names. Like Jehovah, Yahweh, and a host of others. Yah, Jah. Christ, the Most High, has one name. And it is written in Exodus 3 and 14. That's his name. That's who you should serve. All other names don't come from him. They come from something else, giving us a name of another God and manipulating us into thinking that we are serving our God. But our God is the God of this book, and he gave us his name. There is an explanation behind any other name that is referring to the Most High God. But his name is in Exodus 3 and 14. I had to stay there for a minute because that's very important. Because there are other gods out here that people worship. But we worship the Most High God, whose son is Christ. So let's finish reading this script. We are in Deuteronomy 10 and 20. And swear by his name, 21. He is thy praise, and he is thy God, and hath done for thee these great and terrible things, which thine eyes have seen. Great and terrible things he've done. When he delivered you, like from Egypt, he destroyed Egypt. There was bloodshed. That was great and it was terrible that you saw before thine eyes. It's time for me to take off, but it's also time for me to wrap this up. We almost at the end. Where we at? Let's go back to Matthew 4. I had to break that down for you so you can see. It's clear that it's only one God, and his name is in this book. And the Christ we serve is the son of that God, you know. So, we're going to read 10 again. Then Christ said to him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. 11. And in closing, then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. Then the devil leaveth him. Right there, in the middle of nowhere, way above everything. And behold, the same thing that Satan promised to him in 4 and 6, that's what he got anyway. The same thing Satan be tempting you with. Let me make that clear. Let's go back to 4 and 6. Matthew 4 and 6. And saith unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands, and they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. That's what Satan promised him. That's what turned around and happened. Matthew 4 and 11. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. That means they came and placed his foot back on solid ground. Lest the stone dash his foot, unless he dash his foot against the stone. They did what Christ, they did what Satan was promising him anyway. Hold to your word. Hold to your law. Know your law. Deuteronomy is the book of the law. Deuteronomy is the book that Christ referred to. The law is what Christ referred to overcome the temptation of Satan. It is written, our law is not dead. Our Christ lives. All praises to the Most High God.